Hi there, my name is Ano, and yeah, this is my second opportunity to be obedient to God and just upload to YouTube the things that He speaks to me about during the moments when I spend time with Him. And today's message really is firstly about obedience, but also about moving away from temptation as believers to better align ourselves with the will of God. And a big part of what this message is, it speaks to the importance of firstly understanding to obey God in the instructions that He gives you, because many a times it's designed to shield you and protect you from the dangers that are associated with kind of living otherwise. But the next important thing is to assess and look at the life of Jesus. When Jesus lived as the most perfect human to have ever lived, and to categorically tear apart his life and assess and see how we can replicate it to be the best believers that we can be, and so that at the end of the road, God will tell us, "Well done, my good and faithful servant. You have made it here, and you will enter the New Jerusalem and live your life eternally." Now, the thing that we need to look at is temptation and sin itself, because the action of sin comes after the temptation presents itself, and then you mentally calculate whether or not it will be desirable and pleasurable for you to do it. So we need to have checks and balances in place that allow us not to get tempted. So a great example of what this would look like is if you know that you are somebody who battles with porn, something that I used to battle with quite a bit. It's better to look at those triggers, look for those triggers, and see how you can put checks and balances to ensure that you don't trip over yourself every now and again. For example, with me, I knew that I would have that desire whenever I was binge watching a lot of series, or I was overeating, or I was engaging in behaviors that weren't productive for me to engage in. So for example, if I spend an entire day in bed without necessarily being productive, I'm more likely going to get tempted into doing it than if I spend a day studying, or if I spend a day building on a side gig or a side hustle. So I needed to ensure that those checks and balances were in place each and every day, like no days off, instead of every now and again, so that you don't give the enemy an opening. It's like that whole thing, if you are a loving and devoted husband or wife, if you know unequivocally that you love your partner and you never want to cheat on them, don't put yourself in a position where you cheat on them. So if you find yourself in situations where you find maybe certain characters to be quite interesting, or you find them sexually attractive or appealing in any type of way, it's best you remove yourself from those situations, rather than convincing yourself that you will have the willpower to fight off that temptation. Why do we need to have willpower? Let us remove willpower from this equation, because as humans, we are not perfect. We are going to fall. We fall every now and again. Even Jesus understood this premise so much that when he went to do his fast, his 40-day fast, he went into the wilderness. It was not by accident that he went into the wilderness. He could have done it, anywhere in Jerusalem, anywhere in Israel, where they were braaiing, having a good time, having fun. But he understood that if he was in the presence of a lot of people whilst he was fasting, he may have been tempted to end that fast. He may have been distracted by so many different things that may have undermined his purpose. And the enemy, once he finds an opening, he will pull on that opening. Whatever advantage you give to him, you will use the advantage to the best of his ability. So what we must be doing as people is to fortify ourselves so well that we don't give him an opening. He needs to put in the work to be able to make you falter, to be able to make you fall. He needs to strain himself. Don't make it easy for him, because he will always keep trying, right? Make it easy for you to avoid temptation. So if you know that you have certain things in your life that undermine your ability to stay true and close to God, please make sure that you create checks and balances. Fortify yourself against the enemy.